And the Kenyan government has dismissed a report by the Committee to Protect Journalists, which accuses the government of failing to uphold its commitment to media freedom. Information Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i dismissed the report as inaccurate, unscientific, and one that is out of touch with reality. The report by CPJ is titled Broken Promises. Rita Tinina tells us more.
In mid-April, 2 journalists were injured by GSU officers as they covered the protest by herders at the Galana ADC farm in Tana River County. Later that month, Eldoret-based journalist John Kitui was killed in unclear circumstances. 2 cases that the Committee to Protect Journalists says are a pointer to the lack of commitment by the government to uphold media freedom. In its report titled Broken Promises, the committee says the government has introduced laws that undermine self-regulation and allow for harsh fines and jail terms for journalists who commit perceived aggressions.
There is new legislation and proposed new legislation. Together this has created a sense that journalists are not legally secure, that they can be hauled into court, that they could be legally harassed, that they could face criminal defamation charges.
According to the report, there have been at least 19 cases of threats or attacks against the press between January and May this year, 16 of them involving the police or state officials.
We've documented about 1 attack a week in the first 6 months of this year, mostly at the county level, journalists covering regional issues. There have been a series of attacks, some fairly serious, some very serious, and there's been really a lack of investigation, a lack of support for these journalists. So journalists feel legally and physically vulnerable, and that's creating an environment in which the Kenyan people are not fully served by the media because journalists are afraid to report on certain sensitive issues.
The government has rubbished the report.
It's a bunch of gossip, nothing you could not collect from some fireside pretzels. Totally unscientific, very badly crafted joke.
With 115 FM stations and 52 digital TV stations across the country, Information Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i says the report was not well researched and is out of touch with the real state of media freedom in the country.
To try and honor it with a sustained response is to be unfair to the people of Kenya, first of all, and to be unfair to Kenya's media sector, which is really one of the best in the region. I keep asking myself the question, where do they live?
The Committee to Protect Journalists is now asking President Uhuru Kenyatta to publicly reaffirm his commitment to an independent and robust media and for the government to amend the Powers and Privileges Bill and the Public Audit Bill to include press freedom principles. Rita Tinina, KTN.